immigration can lead to less government. It's just going to lead to more, and that's what I really don't frankly understand about people who support all of that, because it's, if nothing else, you'll break even. I mean, you're not going to save money by building a wall and doing all this shit. I mean, if anything you ask the government to do is going to end up costing you more money in the end, and it's not even going to deliver what you probably hope it delivers. I mean, it's not going to stop drugs. It's not going to do whatever people think, or they might hope that stricter border control might result in. I don't think it'll even result in those things that some people may want, and it's just going to cost more. So I mean, that's my take on it. I just really don't understand it, and yeah, it just seems like it's hopefully just more bluster or whatever, more talk. I mean, obviously, I don't I don't want more spending to go into that. So um,
Yeah, I mean,
we'll just
for real, like
see.
this is just ridiculous. It's going to be somebody positioned within the White House from Homeland Security. It'll be based within Homeland Security, so it'll be sort of executive branch, and so like this is why nobody knows who works for who, and nobody knows what the hell's going on, you know. But I think this is ridiculous, though. Oh my God, because they're going to be confirmed by the Senate, and as we all have been watching, that means a whole hell of a lot. Like we really need more Senate confirmation hearings. We need more presidential appointees, and yeah, man, I'm gonna hand it over to making stuff too in a minute. But God help me, like you just reminded me when you were saying that cryptic cynic. It's like I could just see an army of bureaucrats. Like this guy isn't just gonna have him in an office somewhere. He's gonna have like teams of people just doing no. God, what will they be doing? I don't know. I suppose they'll be holding a lot of meetings and ordering a lot of donuts. You know what I mean? But for the love of God, I don't know what they could possibly accomplish. So I don't know. I mean, you've been following the border making stuff. I'm like I was saying earlier, I kind of had just some technical difficulties floating around too with the stream today, so the sound's a little off, but it's gonna be all good. This one, I wonder how long we're gonna have to worry about us fixing Mexico's or Honduras's problems personally. I mean, I wish we could just give them the finger, but I don't know. I don't know. Like I think Cryptic Cynic has a point. Like I don't know if a wall or another czar or anything's gonna help. So. But yeah, man, what do you think, dude?
Yeah, so my big thing about it is, you got to get rid of the welfare state first, and until you do that, that's the thing that's going to draw most people to try to come into the country. But I mean, really, Mexico's got to fix their own problems. They got to work their own problems. Just by bringing in a ton of people from other countries isn't going to help the U.S. at all. And
That's the last thing we need, I think.
yeah, and you're just encouraging it with the welfare state. So until you can curb that and get rid of the welfare state, you're going to have this crazy immigration. And for me, when we're building this wall, who are we keeping ourselves in is a question. If we need to leave, are we keeping ourselves in? So there's just some things to think about, I guess.
I kind of have thought about that because yeah, I mean, I wondered if I ever did want to leave the country, like and I didn't want a passport, I didn't want to have an ID, like do the whole sovereign citizen, like could I even get out of here, or would I be stopped by the Coast Guard or something like that? Like where can we go? But like I think you make see. I don't know if you guys. I mean, if you're listening out on YouTube or you're hanging out in the Discord or something, but like as far as you could call it anarchist, you could call it libertarian. This I think this used to be a Republican thing actually to have a limited, if nothing else, government. Like, I mean, I want to get rid of as much as possible. I think that is the solution: is to take away the incentives of coming here illegally. Make sure that people can't hire them and get away with it or whatever. I mean, I don't really think that's actually where I want to go. I would rather just say like, yeah, there's no reason to come here. There is no welfare state. We don't have, all the public schools and the free medicine and like, That's what the problem is, though. It's never like I can't really claim the Democrats were ever in on this because they always want to give out more and more and more. You know, like that's their platform is how much can we give away. You know, and at the same time, how you know how can we tell people what to do to save the world or whatever? I mean, I don't really want to save the world, and yeah, you know, like I always look at it like you know me being a somewhat productive member of society, I always end up spending like 5,000 in taxes, and then they expect me to like get an EBT card and you know haul that around to the supermarkets. It's like, well, you know, you know, this is like I feel like I'm already living in like a communist state because of shit like that. You know, I get bothered by it. I don't like it. I don't know why this is even an incentive. I wish I could tell people in Honduras like this sucks. I mean, it probably doesn't suck as much as starving to death in Honduras, but it still sucks. You know, and it's only gonna get worse if we keep spreading it around. You know, that's all I can say. It's a real pain in the ass though, because yeah, I mean, I I get all like what do you call it? I don't think it's like white knight or whatever, but it's like I feel like that. I think Molyneux calls it pathological altruism. Like I want to help. You know, I can't. I don't think I should even bother. I mean, what the hell am I gonna do for an entire nation? I'm over here, you know, in my living room hanging out. I can't fix Mexico's problems, and I don't know that America should be the ones to do it. I think they should fix their own goddamn problems by stop being such weirdo Weimar Republic socialists. Like, their socialism went out in, like, the last century. They're not even talking about the new version. Their socialism sucked for a century. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a big problem. Like, you know, like, the history of Central America isn't really taught in schools or anything like that, but they absolutely did sign, you know, with their enemies, at least in World War One, and they did definitely love the European socialism back in the early 1900s. It's a thing, so I mean, we like it or not, but they've modeled themselves after, you know, the Austro-Hungarian Empire for the last couple, I don't know, generations, and maybe it's time for them to get the shit together on their own. I mean, what can we do? But I don't know, Cryptic Cynic. What do you think? Because like I could actually switch gears a little bit because now we're gonna help everybody in Venezuela. You know, we're gonna help. That's what I'm saying. Like this is like whenever I like think I'm gonna go to Mexico and help do anything, I go, wait a minute. That I feel like that's like a knee jerk reaction at this point. I figure I got to step back and be like, what the fuck am I talking about? But I don't know. Do you see any parallels with this? Because if we keep talking about Mexico like this, it's going to be the next Venezuela, in my opinion. What do you say?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely heading that way in a lot of ways. I think. It's just I don't know. It's weird to me how there are pockets of Mexico where a lot of like people who want to get off the grid or like homestead and do stuff like that. A lot of some I know of a lot of anarchists who have taken up in Mexico and other parts of like Central America, especially Costa Rica. So yeah, I mean I don't know. I don't know enough about the history of Mexico to really say anything definitive about their situation. But yeah, I mean as far as the broader concept of like the US helping people, I don't understand where people think all this money is coming from. Like that the US that we, have the money to be helping everybody in the world. I mean, we already spend, trillions on having footholds in every, crevice of the planet, as we know. Hundreds of bases in over 100 countries, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
And
that the one in Germany is very important. You have to admit that. You know.
yeah, I
Still.
mean, it's like, where's this coming from? If people want to help so much, like they should get all of these celebrities and rich people who are spending their money on getting their kids into college and send it to Venezuela. If they care so much. Why does it have to be more tax money uh, being used to quote unquote help these people or whoever? I mean, yeah. I mean, like you said, things aren't great for a lot of people in America right now. So how are we in a position to be like the savior of anybody else? I just really don't get it.
And then we have cryptocurrencies now, so you can directly send money to people as well. I mean, we have lots of different options now.
I think crypto is the way to go. That's what's going to be saving all of us from all this stuff. Like, I think it's well, I see that the people on top have noticed that we're, not playing their game as much as we used to, and they're starting to react. Like, Truth Force is often talking about how, like, JP Morgan's trying to do their own crypto and trade it around with their own people. I feel like they're creating a tax shelter for themselves, but if they can use that newfound power to manipulate us, I mean, of course they will. What that history has told. So, I really do feel, I feel like I would love to get the whole off-grid community going. I mean, I suppose there's some people that can get away with it in some parts of America even. I just don't know. I mean, we did try that in New Hampshire, for instance, with the Free State Project. We were going to try to get as much, control over politics as we could, but it only worked in the North Country, and like I said, like it became sort of a double society, where there was highly urbanized areas. That's what I was complaining about earlier, actually. I should just say, like, before I came on, I was doing my prep for the show, and some dude was all bent out on something. He rode up on the curb. He had, like, a tricked-out Honda, though, with, like, ground effects and everything else, so it was a mess. Blew his radiator, completely screwed up his undercarriage. Because we have sharp granite curves around here, man. And, yeah, so, doped out dude. He goes up the street, he stops. Everyone thinks, okay, he's going to be a normal person who just, had an accident. But no, he's freaking out, doesn't know what the hell. He starts running around in circles for a minute. Then he grabs his bumper out of, like, the millions of shards. Like, there's a giant mess out there. Like, he just destroyed the sidewalk, wrecked it all up. He grabs his bumper, throws it in the back of his car, and then speeds off with, like, leaving a trail of radiator fluid and smoke. So I can't imagine he made it far, but the brilliant scientist that he is, he left his license plate because it got scraped off his bumper. So, yeah, that's sort of what I'm saying is, like, the Free State Project was, like, thousands of people moved here, and we're still dealing with this. It's sort of like, I think that's what it is in Mexico that's why I'm saying this story does connect. Like, yes, you can, like, kind of find places where people will leave you alone for the most part, but I don't know. Like, I think in Mexico it's a little probably easier, but it's highly urbanized areas where government is completely up your ass, watching you under surveillance with literally cameras 24 hours a day, tracking your movements and, subpoenaing your cell phone data if they want to know how many times you go to the bathroom in your own house. Like, they'll track you doing that if they have to. But, yeah, so, I mean, I think that's going to be the way of the world. I'm trying to get me some elbow room now. Like, you know what I mean? I'll throw in a link, too. Like, I just, like, did some link in urban gardening because this is all I can do. I want to farm, but you can't do much when you got some plastic buckets and some concrete. But, if you have any space at all, you could do something. Self-reliance is the key. I feel like that's what I'm saying, though. It's like there's going to be some sort of quasi situation where, I don't know, hopefully they'll leave us alone to some extent. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I'm ever going to get truly free, I do like what Mexico's doing in some respects. Like, they have a couple of good things going. Oh, I see Patient Zero came to hang out. Hey, bud. Like, they're ending their war on drugs. I'm not sure they were ever really fighting it all that hard, but they actually are not going to be going after cartels, and they're not going to be, fighting a war, literally, on, basically their only export to America that makes them any money, But, yeah, it looks like the police are finally leaving. Yeah, my neighbor, by the way, he did call the police because he got the guy's license plate off the side of the road, so dude's going to have an even worse night. He should have just, put his car on the curb, cleaned up his shit, pretended he wasn't a dopehead, and none of us would have cared. I swear we wouldn't have cared. Like, he didn't do enough property damage for anyone to, go over the deductible. But, we're fighting the war on drugs like you wouldn't believe. We're fighting hard, hard, hard. And I'm noticing it's not working outside my front door. Meanwhile, Mexico at least is doing that. So I'm not, again, I hope everybody who signed up didn't think we were going to be shitting on Mexico for an hour. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, they say. Um, you know, I don't know, man. That's what I have to say about it, dude. I wish we would end the war on drugs, you know, because if you look at that post, there's a lot of plots with a lot of potting soil. I could make use of that on more than one way if it was legal, and I would too, you know. But no, I'm gonna grow some arugula, and I'll be happy with that. I don't know if you could smoke arugula, but I guess we'll find out in a few months. But I don't know. Any of you guys garden? Any of you guys got the green thumb, or just like broke like me and want to eat fancy food and don't want to pay fucking $500 for it?
Yeah, man, gardening's the way to go. I'm doing an aquaponics experiment and trying to hone that down so I can get a continuous production year round, and then also doing like fruit trees and berries, blackberries, and all kinds of stuff, blueberries, and yeah, I'm about the permaculture garden because I'm kind of lazy,
I
and
love it.
I love it. You can set that up so that you don't have to be watching all the time and making sure you out of your water and everything. If you set it up right, then nature, you can just kind of let nature do its thing and water and everything for you. So yeah, it's totally the way to go.
You ever get any seeds in the ground, Cryptic Cynic? You into that at all? It's spring, I suppose. News, so sort of.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, not recently. I haven't. I live in an urban hellhole, so I don't have land outside really. But when I was younger, my mom taught me a lot. She loved gardening a lot. She would grow all kinds of stuff. We had a persimmon tree. I don't know if
Nice.
you guys have ever tried persimmon, but it's pretty interesting fruit. I think it's a fruit. And of course, yeah, tomatoes and all your typical stuff, and other plants, other flowers. But yeah, I mean, I there's definitely something really great about that. And like you said, I mean, nothing can beat that. If you want healthful food that's not fucking full of fertilizer, pesticide. That's the only way to go. As we've seen, the other day we were talking about the kale being full of
Yep.
pesticides and whatnot. So yeah, I'm totally all for gardening.
I'm not using. You know what's actually we do like this isn't news at all. This is just sort of personal, but I think it's good advice if you want to do like especially urban gardening because like the bugs around here we don't have a whole lot, but the ones we do have know what they're fucking doing. Like they're in for the long haul. Like they got it figured out. So you got to watch out for those assholes. They're nasty motherfuckers. But yeah,
One
I
thing,
use like
I've been thinking about, Greg, is and Cryptic Cynic, you might look into a guy. His name is John Kohler, but he has a channel on YouTube called Growing Your Greens, and he recently did an episode where they they featured a guy that was growing microgreens indoors,
yeah, I know
and
that guy.
is going to
Yeah.
be yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, he's going to be making some good money off of it, and then that's also a good way to supplement, your own diet, and you can do smoothies and all kinds of stuff with it, and it's you can do it with cocoa core and filter your water and have a really controlled environment. And I think it would be really good actually to do like a small solar power system that can power the little microgreen system, and that way individuals that are in urban areas and stuff could be able to provide some healthy food for themselves and maybe even make it an enterprise. So I think as anarchists and people that are in the decentralized movement and stuff should be thinking in this way and starting to be as resilient as possible essentially, and be able to kind of be entrepreneurial and support your communities as well, especially more like-minded people. Agorism.
Well, I'll tell you, I say it a lot when I talk to. I think it's maybe just the Northeast. I don't really know, but they make it really fucking hard to like the microgreen stuff. I looked into it. I followed that guy for a while. I learned a lot too. I owned my own restaurant and wanted to supply my own food, but just the amount So like the farmers market, you need to give them like $5,000 a year just to have a booth there, and you need to go through inspections and licensing, and you need like insurance up to I think the insurance was up to 150,000 or 500,000, So it's like, wow, dude, I'm a guy growing microgreens in my backyard. What do you want? How am I going to afford an insurance policy to cover a $500,000 lawsuit? Who's going to sue me for selling them chickpeas? What the hell are we talking about? So that's how it is around here. But I've been complaining about that, not because I'm pissing and moaning. I've been looking around, and like Steam It, I found that's where to go, because you know what? Maybe I can't sell literally to my neighbor, but I might be able to sell to my neighbor on Steam It, because the laws on drop shipping are not the same as my stupid city laws. My city laws don't touch that, so the way around that I'm finding, and like honestly, I'm this year it depends on how things go. If I do well or not. Maybe I'll actually have something to share, but we'll see how it goes. I think the way to do it though is, overnighting and things like that. I mean, you got to work it out so that the price makes sense. But like you said, there's ways to make that happen. I'm thinking about getting like a $250 solar generator. Just, hang out in the back. If we have clouds for days, I could actually get a can of gas from the corner store or whatever, throw that in there too. So you could, make it happen. Not for my house, but for a garden. Like you said, just a drip system, something to keep it so I'm not out there. When I do go out there, instead of like doing all the daily chores, I just want to take the weeds out. That takes up so much time as it is. So
yeah, I'm gonna create a little build guide for a small 100 watt hour lithium iron phosphate system, and I think everybody should at least have something like that in case of a grid down scenario. And if you at least have something like that, then you're able to charge devices. You can charge other people's devices, low power devices, help get communication out there, and be a little bit more ready for some kind of natural disaster. And so yeah, I'm planning on building or putting out a little guide on that on Steam It soon.
It's pretty awesome, dude. I need to get a greenhouse back there too. I've been working, paint the fence, fix this, that. It's actually kind of funny though. Like, I don't know. This time I trimmed all my grapevines. And I'm sitting there like, these things are pretty much wood. I know they're pretty much wood. And they would like dried out. Like I trimmed off the dead ones, and I kept, down to the live ones, pruned it up. And there's just tons of them. I'm like, why am I going to buy, I'm in the city. Like I can't like throw these things away. There's nowhere to put these things. So I've been like buying lawn and leaf bags and throwing them out. I'm like, I own a fireplace, man. So, I don't know, man. I brought like a bunch of them in, like bundled them up like real tight, and they burn like a motherfucker. Those things were awesome. And they smelled really nice too. Like grapevines, believe it or not, when you burn them, because they have a lot of sugar in them. Even if they do look dead, I mean, obviously I think I pruned a little too deep on some branches, but yeah, man, delightful. Quite delightful. So, I mean, if you're, I don't know if that helps with a lot of urban gardeners because, you got to live in an old-ass city to have a working fireplace still. Most new cities don't even bother. But, yeah, that was kind of fun, yeah. But, yeah, I think, like, Homesteaders Co-op and a few other, like, we had Sage Scrub on, and, that's the kind of thing that I'm looking at now. Because if you live in a weird, like, liberal hellhole where they tell you can't sell spinach to your neighbor, you can't drink milk from your own cow unless, you send it to their state-run processing plant and then have it shipped back to you. Whatever the hell nonsense you're putting up with, I think, this is a good way around it. I mean, certainly has been for me anyway. But, I don't know. I wanted to talk real quick about something kind of truth decentralized, because this story came up. I figure I'll pass by it if I don't harp on it, but, the mainstream media, they've been going insane lately, and CNN now wants FBI to ratchet down on hate speech. And that means, well, quite a bit for free speech in general. Like, I just want to point out, this is the exact opposite of what journalism is. A journalist asking the government to shut down journalism. this is where we're at. I needed to bring this up. I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't know. Cryptic's in it. Can you take this one? Because holy shit, CNN, really? Wow.
Yeah, this is pretty. Yeah, this is like pretty pathetic, even for the mainstream media. I don't know how much lower they can get, but that's pretty bad. That's just pretty damn bad. Um, Apparently she thinks chanting "lock her up," over to Hillary or whatever, is hate speech. That's even taking the definition even farther than I have ever, even heard it taken already. So, apparently hate speech to her is anything that is mildly upsetting to anyone to the right of like Mao or some shit. So, you know, nothing surprises me coming out of CNN people and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, like you said, yeah, I mean, I don't know. How can anyone who claims to care about journalism, support any type of censorship is beyond me. So yeah,
Oh yes, Comey. This guy him and Joe Biden both should have known when to fold and fuck off, because they should just shut up and go away. They're not doing themselves any. They're gonna go to jail if they don't stop. Things have changed so much in such a short time. But like this is where I feel like it goes. This is like the baby steps, the increments. Like you know, political speech is hate speech, and then hate. Both of these things are arbitrary terms, so it's going to go directly into, well, lock her up. It incites violence and makes me feel unsafe. It makes me feel like I'm being threatened with violence. So that's what matters, my feelings. It's like I don't know, making stuff. Can you tell me, man? I might be overreacting because no one's making no one's making but still, I'm fucking freaking out.
The FBI and the people that go and violate people's rights are immoral trash. And the FBI, if you think about the U.S. government as a mafia, the FBI are the thugs, and the CIA, the FBI, they are the thugs and they're the cronies that get sent out to do the bidding of the government. And I pray that these guys and the people that actually work for these organizations, I pray that they can see that and they can kind of open their own eyes and see that they're being used as pawns to and if you watch any of Mark Passio's work, he used to be involved with Satanism, and some of the circles that he was involved with.
I think we lost you, bud. Are you there making stuff?
Sorry, yeah. So what I was saying is that these guys consider them their dogs, and so you gotta. I just pray that these guys can look and see at the actions they're taking a lot of times, and especially violating other people's rights. And it doesn't matter what these media guys are all about, stirring people up and causing more divisions. So I pray that people can see that as well, and that we can all realize we're all being played by a very small amount of people. And if we decide to work together and cooperate with each other, then we can accomplish a lot, and we can create the systems that will totally leave this system behind, because it's evil, it's satanic.
Yeah, it really isn't working out. That's what I was saying at the top of the hour. It's like, dude, we do not need another department out of Homeland Security. We do not need a quasi-executive appointee. I don't think the Senate confirmation is worth a goddamn. Senate confirmation is worth nothing to me. Like it has become so stupid. Like the Kavanaugh thing. That accomplished what? You know what I mean? Like that's the state we're in. So I don't see why putting us through that more often is a good idea. Like that didn't help. Nobody's happy. It made things worse. So I don't. It's what I always think about the government. It's like, you know what? We really screwed up bad with this one. So what do? I don't know. Let's double down and we'll throw another $10 million at it and see what happens. It's like, It is frustrating, I'll tell you. You know, like, I don't know, a couple things. Like, one last frustrating thing, at least. I got to get into it because, you know, I'm a big WikiLeaks fan. But, you know, they are in. So, Julian Assange is in London. He's in an embassy from Ecuador in London, specifically, though. Now, well, WikiLeaks put out a brief on Ecuador. Brilliant. And they're yanking his refugee status in their embassy because, well, you know, maybe they thought, see, this is where I'm getting a little, of course it's conspiracy here. This is WikiLeaks, and this is literally a conspiracy theory. Like, this is it. Like, I'm sorry, but, so anyway, Assange, the official statement says if President Moreno, of Ecuador, wants to illegally terminate a refugee publisher's asylum to cover up an offshore corruption scandal, history will not be kind, WikiLeaks said. Now, I hope everyone else knows, you should be fucking scared of these people. Like, I'm sure they're the white hats or whatever, but they're fucking terrifying, you know, in the sense that, like, I don't know what they're not capable of. But the balls is what come on, that is like sticking to principles 101. Like, this is to the point of stupidity. Maybe Ecuador thought, like, okay, well, we're the only country helping WikiLeaks out. Maybe they won't leak on us. But I guess not. So, yikes. I don't know, man. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I'll pass it to Cryptic, dude. I suppose we keep going, and it seems like, you know, we should just pass a joint while we're at it, if you ask me. But keep the circle going. But you know, I want this dude to be free and out. I don't think he'll last 15 minutes. Maybe that's what he knows, and he's staying in there for that. But man, what do you say about this one? This one's nuts, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, you know, continuing on the last topic, you know, what is the state of journalism when people like Assange, who are trying to be actual journalists, are like kept in seclusion and you know, being threatened with imprisonment? Like, I don't know, it's ridiculous. You know, all these just complete parasites on the mainstream news and shit. These people, you know, are free prancing around, you know, patting themselves on the back and thinking they're doing something wonderful when they're just puppets. They're just, you know, they're not doing anything hard hitting to anyone in power. So, you know, and then they get to sit there smugly while Assange is, you know, kept in seclusion like this and under threat of being imprisoned and all that. I mean, they just sit there smugly like, oh, that guy, you know, he's unreliable, he's fake news, this and that. It's like, you know, he's done more than like any mainstream type, you know, all of them put together. You know, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing to say about it other than that.
Yeah, you're right. This is what I mean. We got CNN saying, you know, I feel threatened by political slogans, and I feel like it's something the FBI could intervene on, you know, hate speech laws. And you got Assange on the other side. He's like balls to the walls journalist till he dies, I guess. Like, so what a hell of a drastic delta between the actual journalists and the completely full of shit ones. I guess the completely fake ones, I suppose, is a better way to say it. I don't know, make stuff like I mean, have you ever gone on to WikiLeaks? I don't mean to put you on the spot if you don't want to answer, but it's a disorganized, hard site to go through. But I mean, it is gold. Like, that is real news all the way. Like, this is the stuff nobody wants anyone to know. So pretty sweet. I find it to be a gold mine.
I've spent a little bit of time. I looked into some of the Pizzagate stuff that was on WikiLeaks, but I haven't really spent a whole lot of time going through all the files that they have up there. But yeah, I posted something up there earlier that was a talk by Ernest Hancock. They just did a conference in Arizona called Anarchizona, and they're gonna just clamp down more on censorship here in the near future. So the importance in what we have now with internet, the interplanetary file sharing (IPFS), is that we can create our own internet. We all have that ability now. So, I was recently walked through that process with a Palestinian, and anybody that has a computer, if you have a, sorry, even if you have like you can set it up on like a little Raspberry Pi computer. They're like $35, and you can add like a terabyte hard drive to it, and then you can become a node for IPFS. And so it doesn't even matter what these guys are doing. Just forget about that they even exist and start building this new network so that we can keep information alive, because they're just going to get worse on it. We have to realize that all the mainstream forms of communication right now will be clamped down on. They control it all. It's all centralized. We have to decentralize it. We have to take that in our own personal responsibility and decentralize the whole thing. So we have that choice right now. And, instead of complaining about it, we can take action and start building the new internet to keep this information alive so that they can't take it down. It would be very difficult to take it down. They'll have to wipe out the entire internet to take it down. So, something to think about.
Well, I'm about to build my first mining device. Actually, I have a few old computers kicking around and some decent graphic cards, and I feel like it's time. I've been of course with me, I want to become a witness node for Steemit or something to that effect. But I mean, this stuff still a bit over my head. I have some work to do. I do have a guy who can rig it up with hardware, though. I just need to figure out where to go to get the software set up and figured it out.
I can totally help you out, and then my buddy Graylin can help you out. But I highly recommend getting into IPFS, because there's another coin coming around called Filecoin that is going to be able to reward people for their file storage. So these things are happening, but they're happening they're happening a little bit slowly. So right now you can go ahead and get started by hosting an IPFS node. In the future, you will be rewarded for hosting that data. So, I encourage that, because that's going to help everybody with their videos and everything like that right now.
Well, I'm down. I mean, it's going to be a completely separate entity from my normal computer, what I'm going to use it for. But I mean, I'm down with that. I don't know anything about IP. I can't even remember the initialism or whatever it is. So I'm gonna have a hard time wrapping my head around that. I feel like is the next step, though. I want to do something more for the network. I mean, I'll see how it goes. I make pretty good money, with the posts. A lot of this stuff comes from promotion, though. If people look at my blog, they probably think I'm making bank, but obviously that has a lot to do with investment groups and things like that on here, and that's what it's all about for me. I'd like to live like that rather than digging ditches. I suppose, speaking of which, actually, I don't know. We're running. We got about 15 minutes or so, but interplanetary file system. See, Patient Zero, man. I need your help, dude. I feel like he's one of the best people I know that can speak both the languages at the same time, like coding language and normal fucking people language. I could swear there probably are a ton of posts on Steemit that explain this in detail that I might as well not bother with. I mean, I need like a fucking thesaurus, and I need to learn HTML and then whatever the other one is. So I can understand, so it's me way behind, so I need a translator, and maybe then I can put it into even more simple terms, but yeah, dude, I need help, I've learned an amazing amount since I've come on here, but I've of course, when you're exposed to such a world of knowledge, you truly learn that you don't know shit. So that's been eye-opening. I wanna actually be on top of that, though. Like I said, I feel like getting into the nuts and bolts, like you said, running your own node, even if it isn't for Steemit, like as a witness. I'm sure there's another, like even Minds needs witnesses and BitChute as well. So there's plenty of places that need your help, that need processing and stuff. So I'm down. I mean, I'm into it. I want to get out of this lifestyle too. You know, earlier today too, like with that stuff going on. That stuff happens all the time in my neighborhood. I want to rent this place out, and make it somebody else's problem. I can't get rid of the city, but I can get rid of this in my personal experience, man. But I don't know. The only solution I came up with lately is I wrote a book. So there's that. I don't know if it's actually going to save me and get me out of here or not, but I've had worse ideas in my day, and I don't know. I think you wanted to talk about Bright Insight. I have a link right here. Let me see if I can get the link in if I didn't screw that up. I did believe I did. I can't play this right here on the podcast, guys. This is a YouTube video from Bright Insight. This guy named Jimmy. He is great. He is like a hands-on, like I say, the difference between the journalist and the reporter. He got in on this kind of stuff long time ago when he was actually in the army, and I think that this video that he came out with, I swear, he's what a good pal. I couldn't have asked for another favor, man. But this guy's great. And he saw all this stuff like firsthand. He saw like the lions with the human heads and the eagle wings, and he saw firsthand like ancient civilizations buried under sand, and how the archaeologists were pulling our legs. And then he went and like looked at the pyramids and realized that there's never been a single body recovered from a tomb. Not one of a servant, not one of a mummified pharaoh, not one of a guard that got lost. And fell. Nobody. There's never been a single skeletal remain. Nothing has ever been taken out of a pyramid, for instance. And he sees all this stuff. And, once you get this bug in you, man, it doesn't go away. Once you realize, most of the things in your textbooks growing up were completely backwards and wrong. You start to want to know the rest. If you even get a taste of reality, it starts, the whole knowledge is power thing starts to get in you. And you actually... I don't know. You like him, man. He didn't sign up for any more tours. He hit the books. He hit the library. He started making these videos. He's a great, talented dude too. I'll give him that, man. Not bad as far as editing and production skills goes. So yeah, I don't know how long he's been out. I think I just found him out right after I came out with mine, just because I wrote this book here. I'll put in my link too. Might as well, because I wrote a book called Coming Cataclysm. And basically, here's an explanation as to what a cataclysm is and how I tie it into stuff. But it is an ominous sort of thing, man. But it's like a reset button. And so, I don't know. I feel like this goes along with the truth decentralized in its own right, too. I mean, I joined up with these guys for a reason. I mean, I don't fit in for nothing. But there's a deeper truth out there if we look for it. And... I don't know. That's what I'm all about. That's all I can tell you. So, but I don't know. Have you guys? What do you? I don't know. I like I said, I guess we'll keep passing it to the left if we use the term I'm used to. But I don't know. Have you been into this? Because this is we probably all heard of some History Channel shows or something that touch on the subject that the history we know right now isn't right. But have you ever really gotten into this, dude?
Yeah, I actually subscribed to Bright Insight as well. Yeah, it's he's pretty good at what he does on that channel, and I think it's like he said. I mean, there's I haven't delved into it as much as I want to, but I've definitely had to have my eyes open to the reality that so much is being suppressed in the mainstream. I mean, once I woke up to other things going on in the world, I realized also that I can't trust the authorities that I've been raised to believe. I can't really trust mainstream thought on pretty much anything. So yeah, I'm totally open to seeing what evidence is out there and all of that. And I mean, there's so much that goes on that's never explained. I mean, I think there was a story recently of some mystery creature washing up on a beach, and that's happened before, with around the 3 Mile Island. I think it is somewhere off of the coast of New York or whatever, where they've had mystery creatures and giant human humanoid type skeletons wash up, and like nobody ever explains that shit, you know? It's like, you know, I mean, there's so much, I'm sure, like I feel like there's just a lot out there that you know, that doesn't get mainstream attention, and that's, you know, pretty uh you know, I don't, yeah, I wonder like what exactly is the motivation behind like all this suppression. You know, I wonder, yeah, I wonder about that. Like what is the reason that you know, is it just inertia, you know, people not wanting to re-examine, you know, what they've believed for so long about history, you know, of humans, and you know, the accepted history. So yeah, I mean, I definitely want to watch all of his videos if possible, but I have a long way to go.
Well, you know, this is the exact thing. Like that, the fact that I think it was like 80 out of 200 pages of that Adam and Eve CIA document were unredacted, so that we could actually see them. So what the hell is in the other, you know, vast majority of the document? And that's how they get people like me to join the dark side. They're like, we got something that you want, you know, like we know things that nobody else does, and you can't. We won't tell you until you join our stupid fucking club. That's how you get me into the Freemasons or whatever. You know, because I'm not satisfied just scratching the surface. I want to see it. I want, you know what I mean? Like, if you got ancient knowledge, you got some sort of artifact. I want to fucking hold it. I don't know. I'm like that. I'm because I'm very skeptical. I guess I don't believe. I don't trust much. You know, I'm always looking for truth, but I don't have much trust. I suppose that's probably why I'm always on the search. I guess. But yeah, you know, you're making stuff. You said you've been like diving deep into this rabbit hole lately, dude. Like I said, man, there's no coming back once you know the truth. Like, I bet most people listening probably thought the pyramids were tombs for pharaohs, but no, never a single freaking sarcophagus. Never once was a body ever taken out of one of those buildings ever. I don't know, man. What do you? I don't know, man. What do you?
Yeah. So my background is in mechanical engineering, and so more and more I'm becoming convinced, or at least hold the idea that the pyramids are actually some type of energy generation device. They're supposedly had a gold capstone on the top, and Tesla may have come across this knowledge as well. And it's interesting that they have these you have these what are they called? The Washington Monument is like it, I can't remember the name of that, what they call those, but they're
makeshift monolith.
Yeah, monolith. And so these guys have fine points at the top, and something interesting that I've come to understand is that when you have a really fine point is really good at collecting charge. It's one of the it's a if you look into atmospheric ionic energy collection, that's what they're using now. Is really they're using carbon fiber because it has a very fine tip on it, and it helps collect charge at that point. And so all these monoliths have that fine point at the top, and it makes me think that they're energy distribution devices that pick up the energy that the output is coming from the pyramids and distributing them somehow.
Well, I'll tell you, if anyone does think that's far fetched, here's what's happening next in actual like technology we got going. Like, we're going to be talking about solid state batteries as the next thing. Right now, we have a 3-stage battery. We have a core, an acid, and then a basically a wrapper. And then, you know, there's a few little things here and there to make the battery work, you know, the cap and the charge things. But anyway, the 3 basic moving parts are those things. It's you know, the acid eats away at the core and releases the energy in the molecules of the soft core. And then, like, the clay pot or the hard steel doesn't erode as fast, so it doesn't leak out the acid. But, you know, that is the most truncated version as how a battery works I could possibly do. But the next step is to eliminate that acid stage and to have an insulator covering and a solid state battery, which is a solid, obviously, just a single wrapping of you know, an alloy or something that holds the charge itself. So in essence, it just takes in the electricity rather than having to have an acid to release it again. It doesn't have to melt anything. It stays where it is. And I don't know if it turns to dust. I can't imagine it lasts forever, but this is an amazing thing. And I mean, of course, patient zero drops in too. The gels, they're going to replace the acid instead. I mean, they're making this happen. Like this old fashioned, again, talk about cataclysms. There is such a thing as the Baghdad battery. This is why I should probably show a picture of it because I'm alluding to it. But, for some reason they had actual batteries, handheld, and they had large ones. And it's just the exact system I'm talking about. They would take, a copper tube, they would put it in a clay pot, and then they'd fill it up with some sort of like vinegar or highly acidic juice. And then they had a working battery back in like Babylon. I don't know what they did with it, but they had it.
Yeah, so that's actually a recent news. Is instead of wet chemistry batteries, there's dry chemistry battery technology that's come out, and Tesla bought the company that developed it. Maxwell Technologies, I believe, is the name of it. But yeah, you get much more. It's much more robust. You get much more duty cycles out of them, and yeah, that's the You're exactly right. That's the next step. Battery technology. Non-electrolytic dry cell batteries. Like you're not using any kind of wet electrolyte.
That's safer too. That's actually a really good idea because the lithium batteries, not only are they expensive, like they're hard to ship because if they're, like I said, we're talking about a volatile chemical that's supposed to erode the inner metals to release energy. Like they are designed to fail eventually. Like they have a shelf life. And so and here's the problem: why you have leaky batteries in your remote. Like if you've ever opened it up, it's because the acid inside is not supposed to eat away at the insulator that's on the outside that contains it, but it does because it's acid. So inevitably, like if it eats away all of the inner core, it's just going to start eating the outer core. It's what's going to happen. So. And then it gets to the wrapper, and you have battery acid leaking out into your sofa. And I would like to do away with that completely. I mean, it'll make this will be good too. It could actually eliminate a lot of weight. So if you're an American and you don't want to pay so much for your iPhone, like this is a huge thing. It actually could reduce the cost of our cell phones like substantially because they'll weigh less, the batteries will weigh less, and they will not be such a fire hazard when they're being shipped around the world. It's kind of a huge step. So could change a lot of things. I would love to see power tools like, never mind imagine if, we could do away with combustion chainsaws and just have solid state battery ones that weigh like practically nothing and they don't stink, don't have petroleum, that'd be amazing. But getting ahead of myself, I guess. Well, here's the thing though, like, this is what we're, again, are we at the point of like reaching a utopia, or are we coming to a point where we're about to hit the reset button? Because like, in my opinion, I don't know how long you can live like this. Like we built the Tower of Babylon. We're coming with the one world language, the one world government. Like we're about as close to end times, not to be all doomy gloomy, but seriously, the signs are there, dude. This is getting fucking weird. Like lately things are strange as hell. Like, I'm not going to go on a big speech about cats and dogs living together. Total anarchy. But I've seen some weird shit. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if you guys have noticed too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I'm a pretty pessimistic type person, so I don't know if that probably colors my my view on things. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I almost just don't even like think that far into the future. Like I don't assume that things will be as they are in like say even 15, 20 years or whatever. I mean, I don't. I don't. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who preach a lot of like doom and gloom, And that's not necessarily all bad, like, because I mean, it could be tomorrow for all I know. I mean, I have no idea. For all I know, I mean, the shit could hit the fan tomorrow. I think preparing for that is probably a smart thing to do. I don't know. I really feel like maybe things are headed towards like the reset button, because I don't see a way out of it, on every level, out of whether it's just the crazy political atmosphere we have now, or economically the situation, even in America. I mean, I don't know. I don't see how this all can just resolve itself, you know, without a cataclysm, as it is.
I'm down. I think a lot of people are hoping for it. I think there's a lot of the Cthulhu worshippers or the Gozer worshippers are building their tower as we speak. They're getting ready for the fucking party. They're into it.
I've been reading, that the compendium of the Emerald Tablets and getting more into that. But one part of it is that the reality that we live in, you can actually through your mind, put yourself in your own reality tunnel. So whatever you're focusing on, whatever your vision for reality is in the future, we may all be, kind of independently reaching our own reality tunnel. So wherever you're focusing your attention and your energy, that is the future that you'll manifest for yourself and in your own reality tunnel. So I don't know, that's something that has been kind of blowing my mind with looking into that research. But I think reality will be what we make it and the actions that we're taking. So yeah, if it can be a very select few people that could change things in a big ripple effect in reality. Um so yeah, I don't know, fun things to think about. I'd rather be on the positive end and in the utopia. Not, I don't think we'll ever have a utopia, but the flying around anti-gravity UFO, or anti-gravity craft, exploring the galaxy future.
Tell you the truth, the only way I think we're gonna get through this shit is I mean, this is just me being weird, but if we don't get outside intervention, we're screwed. Like, I don't think we're gonna make it that much longer. I feel like like in the first link I dropped in, I talk about how people go crazy with megalomania. They get their own hubris or arrogance to the point where they think they can elevate themselves into some sort of god status. I swear they do. And just like think of a Caesar who, or well, that's what I mean. Like, think of how many people in modern day think they're a god king. Like Macron himself, says he's Jupiter. He's insane. And see, what I'm saying is, though, the only thing they can't do is stop climate change or asteroids or things that cause cataclysms, is what I'm saying. So sometimes I wonder if all these wars that devastate things, or maybe this is like them losing it, like making us all drink the Kool-Aid with them. It's like, well, I don't know. Like, this is complicated. I probably couldn't bang it out in a few minutes, but I tried to write out a few thoughts on it. Like, the only thing that they can't do is this, and it must drive them crazy. Like, I don't have the power to get my kids to go to bed on time, so I don't even worry about ruling the world. But these guys do. Like, this is something they actually take on and consider. So like their never-ending lust for power makes them want to become a god one day. Like, through rituals or through whatever it is. But it seems like I don't know, like hiding these resets. It might be like say, like the people who believe that Obama was going to like lower the oceans and calm and calm the wars, and he was going to legalize Tom Cruise and smoking weed at the same time, which I don't actually suggest, but like, they believe this stuff. So say, at the height of his popularity, when everybody had deified him and thought he was the second coming, and they might have, There was people who thought he was, you know, a Messiah, and then there were some people who thought he was the Antichrist. But people were like putting him on such a pedestal. But you know, imagine if, so like I said, like a big asteroid hit, bam, and your God King couldn't do anything about it. You'd see that the Emperor is not wearing any clothes. You know, that your God bleeds and he's not that special after all. So I wonder if that is part of it. I'm sure like that's, if anything, a sliver of what's really going on. But I feel like that could be part of it. You know, it's, they don't want to, like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine if somebody like pointed out declaratively to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that no matter what she did, she can't stop the cows from farting, and her 12-year plan to make it so we launch each other out of slingshots to get to Hawaii isn't gonna work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people say, well, I don't know, you know, why would we hide this stuff? Like, have you seen the people who believe in global warming, like, freak out when you tell them that it's probably a religious thing, and it's probably, like, we might be alive in 13 years, guys. You know, I'm throwing that out there. Or what, you know what I mean? We will probably be having the same stupid conversation a dozen more years, and it'll be irreversible. It's like, you know, but, like, I don't know, like, you know, something that like shocked her followers so hard that they no longer believed, like, you know, her as a savior. Like, I don't know what it would do, but I mean, she wouldn't get reelected, I can tell you that. Like, if somebody went to her district and went, hey, look, all this science is wrong, everything she says is wrong, and it shocked them back into reality, you know, like, no, she's not actually a deity. She can't fix the world. She can't change the temperature of the earth, guys. It's not how humans operate. We don't have these powers, people. You know, last I checked, we couldn't do stuff like that. We couldn't change the rotation of the earth. It's not like we're Superman. And even when Superman did it, it was stupid. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that has a big part of it. I think that, you know, I mean, maybe, probably everyone in the room is cynical enough to not be snookered into following some ruler off a cliff. But apparently this, you know, maybe that's not the majority of us, because most people are more than willing to get in line. That's what I'm saying.
That made me think of a video I saw. I guess it happened recently with the student protest against climate change or whatever the hell that was. There was a video of like these 8-year-old kids and meeting with Nancy Pelosi, and I think they were saying something to her about you know, the Earth only having 11 years or 12 years or whatever it is, and she just was like all pissy with them. She's just like, well, nothing's gonna happen in 10 years anyway, and I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this a long time. It was pretty funny. Just
that's great.
See her go off on the children. It's like just so the youngest generation can enjoy her insanity. I don't know, but it was amusing.
She's great. I don't know. Do you guys got any theories on, like, because there's a lot of weird stuff, and I mean, I just was talking about the one weird government angle, but there's anybody in the position of authority can probably have a reason to, like, you know, say they wrote, you know, every book in their life about the theory of evolution and how it was completely accurate, and then they all of a sudden, you know, find a completely intact skeleton, I don't know, in the 200,000-year-old level of the dirt, you know, that layer. So now we can't explain how that skeleton got there. How did the fully developed skeleton get into the 1.5 million-year-old hole? You know, like, how did that happen? If, you know, so I can see if somebody wrote serious science book, like, again, I'm writing fiction, but if somebody wrote serious science books and, like, this was their life, like, their initial theory was built off of this one anthropological theory, and so on and so forth, I could see why they will not. They will tell you anything, like, oh, well, you know, he was probably buried up in the 40,000-year-old range, but then there's a sinkhole, and or maybe an elephant came by and he dug a really deep hole, and then somehow he slid in there. You know what I mean? They'll come up with any weird rationalization how, you know, they're right and this evidence is wrong. It's not the person who presents the evidence, it's the evidence itself cannot be correct, because it would go against everything they've put on paper their whole life. So that's something I understand. I could see where someone's coming from. They can't change now, you know, because it would, I don't know. I mean, it would be probably admit that they wasted their whole goddamn life if you think about it. But I don't know. Is that too dark? In making stuff, is that too dark, or am I just being?
I guess I'm just an eternal optimist in humanity, and I have always held that we have the power within us to really change things. But I don't know. I guess I will always be an eternal optimist because I see the potential is there, but it could and how quickly it could actually change. But it really it really is an effect of everybody actually finally making that conscious decision to take action and to understand the problems and take action. And we are being played by just a select few people, so we have the power. And don't become apathetic, take action, and things can really change, I think.
I did have an important news flash to share. Well, let's say something that's all serious. Hey, Lanny and Rondon came by. It's good to see you guys. But yeah, Luke Skywalker, he's got a real job. He's voicing Chucky. So at least he's got his priorities straight. You know, I bet you there's it's probably steadier work doing Chucky reboots than Star Wars. You know, bigger franchise with more fan base. All right. Yeah, exactly, dude. Oh, my Lord. Well, you know, I don't even know if I should be excited about this. I mean, he is a great voice actor. He really is. I mean, I watched those Batman cartoons. I was like a middle school kid when those were live on TV coming out every week or whatever. So I was all, you know, and I may have seen Star Wars once or twice. I may watch superhero movies every so often. Just like the only fucking thing I watch, actually. But I don't know. Trying to watch TV with your family nowadays is torture, man. I don't know if it ever was fun, but like I would love it if my kids were like, "Hey, let's watch Mr. Wizard or Mr. Rogers or anything other than the horrible shit that's on right now." It's so bad. You know, I stopped watching the Chucky ones when they did the the third one. The third one is when I might have seen one after that, but I blacked out the memory on purpose. I imagine. I don't want to know if it was good or bad. The third one was pretty cheesy. So, but the first and second one were fucking amazing. I thought the second one still kicked it. I think they actually, the first and second, kind of hold up. You know, scared the living hell out of my family. I mean, I think it's funny, but I don't know. I grew up on that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're about at the we're about 10 past the hour. I don't know if you guys you want to throw in a couple more stories. I'm gonna be heading over doing Coffee and Chronic with Grim in about 45 minutes or so. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I wish I had a no doll house. You know, straight up. Just gonna actually say that. The movies don't scare me, but the actual dolls, I don't want them fucking things laying around. You know, the less the better, in my opinion, when it comes to them things. But yeah, I don't know, man. Poor Luke Skywalker, may he rest in peace. They got Nick Fury. I don't know who's next. I don't know. Maybe, you know what it'll be? It'll be the Expendables, right? But they'll all be pregnant. So it'll be Jason Statham and Rocky Balboa talking about their bloated feet for an hour and a half. It'll be fucking amazing. Finally! You know? Oh, movies. See, this is what I'm saying. You know what? If you don't like the way that writing goes nowadays, dude, you know, if you want to be like me, piss and moan all the time how much writing sucks, I suppose you really do. Just write a book. You know? I don't know how else to fix it. It sucks so bad. You know? The writers, they ruin everything. So, like, I can't take it anymore. I don't know. I'm going to do something about it, man. So, I hope everyone checks it out, dude. I'm going to put a link in to see, it comes out Friday officially, but, you know, now I can't go back and edit it, so it's pretty much where it's at. You know, it is what it is. No fixing it now. Man, it's gonna be interesting. You know, anybody who wants to help me out, dude, that'd be awesome. You know, I could use all the help I can get. I can tell you that. But yeah, it's been a great hour, dude. I had some fun. We went over like I was saying. Let's do a little recap. I meant to start doing that. We started out with we absolutely positively do not need an immigration czar. We do not need another department opening up in the Homeland Security. You know, I do not consider that a jobs program. You know. Actually, yeah, I could. Well, I could probably keep going on plugs for the next 45 minutes or so. The only thing I don't have going on is Wednesday. So if anybody's doing something Wednesday and they want to guest, I'm all about it. But yeah, I'm gonna be hanging out with Grim next after this, and then Thursday it's Due with Pensive. I have his link actually. I re-steamed it, so that is good. He's calling it Due. I don't know. It's basically people who are doing things on this. He squeezed me in more or less. He's a good pal. So yeah, because everybody else they're like starting up huge companies and stuff like that, working it out. Now I am probably going to be selling this book on Steam in a very limited quantity. But I mean, if I could find some whales that would say unlimited quantity, I mean, then we can have a party. You know, I'm willing to set this up. I'd be willing to give, like I said, profit to people who were looking to do some sort of angel thing to make it happen. But, that would be that. In the meantime, yeah, I suppose, yeah, I don't know, man. Everybody should do all the Steam It stuff, MSP is pretty kick-ass, dude. So hang out with us there and making stuff's there. We're all there. Everybody's every... I'm no good at this. I you know what I need is like fucking like a cue card to end stuff, or a little like paragraph long speech or something like that. But yeah, you should definitely support Truth Decentralized. We got all the links and stuff in the video over on YouTube, and it'll be in the post when it goes onto our official site on Steam It. So yeah. Oh, I'm gonna get some going, dude. I'm gonna get some physical copies going. I have to sell a few of these first. We'll see how Friday goes. I mean, yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna have it going. It's just it's a matter of making it affordable and making it so people can get it. And yeah, it takes money to make money, so it's baby steps, man. And I wish I could pull an Oprah and buy like 20,000 of them and just be like the best seller for the next 3 weeks. And just have a garage full of them somewhere, hang out and give them out as prizes for everything I do. No matter what it is, upvote this post and you will win a prize. But no, I have to do it the hard way. I have to grind it out, man, So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, yeah, I don't know. At least, yeah, after the Thursday show with Pensive, we'll be back here. Yeah, I'll be with Cryptic Cynic, and I don't know. Yeah, hope if whoever else can come out, that'd be fun, dude. We'll all be hanging out. So yeah, I don't know. Do you guys want to say anything before we head out? I might as well, because I'll just keep talking forever, and I got to take a breath.
Yeah, I just want to leave everybody with that statement that yeah, go and take action. Even the little actions that you can do, like the IPFS thing, or just trying to grow a little bit more of your own food, or, just those little steps that you can take to create the world that you want to see and to start moving reality in a different direction. And don't get apathetic. It's easy to get cynical, I guess, but stay in action and take some actions. So that's what I want to leave everybody with.
I just recommend cannabis in general. I'm not sure how it's relevant to anything, but that's just my latest the note I'd like to leave the evening on, I guess, because I'm cynical inherently, so I don't know. Sometimes that helps me be less cynical, so there's that. So that'll be my action for the day. But good talking to you guys, and thank you. Thanks everybody for being here who's in the audience. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, this has been Gregory Patrick making stuff, And Cryptic Cynic, I am pro positivity and pro cannabis and cynicism, and you know it's very complicated. But we'll see you guys soon. It's been awesome.